Thank you for your kind introduction. I would like to thank the organizers for allowing me to take part in the Alter Nature program, and I guess this will be the confirmation that the issues that have been dealt with were the more lively parts of the debate, probably since insurance is reputed to be among the more boring aspects of the business implications of genetic knowledge. My purpose today is to share with you a number of elements regarding the current state of play of the use of genetic information for insurance purposes in Belgium nowadays. I'm convinced that insurance is something like a silent keystone of our modern life, of our modern civilization. We may take a number of insurance products for granted and be very surprised at the effects that the progress of medical knowledge may have for the availability or the affordability of a number of insurance products. When we are dealing with the relationship between genetic knowledge on one hand and insurance applications on the other hand, we will probably have to focus on a number of unfortunate twists of fate regarding human health that can have an effect on life expectancy, that can have an effect on the quality of life, on our health status, and that will therefore also have a number of consequences for life insurance, for health insurance, and most probably also for an underdeveloped field of insurance that is known as long-term care insurance in a number of countries, and certainly in Flanders, where the government a few years ago has decided to introduce what is known in Flanders as the Vlaamse Zorgverzekering, a specific insurance for people who deserve a special care, not because of the fact that they are ill and need immediate medical treatment or hospital care, but simply the fact that those people may have been exposed to degenerative diseases, and therefore we need a number of forms of care at home to help those people to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, and so on. Now, when we go back in time, and when we look at the way mankind has been dealing with those unfortunate twists of fate, I would say that the first thing that we did was probably to use magic, or to pray to be spared, or to count on some forms of solidarity. And I guess solidarity can claim to be much older than insurance as we know it. Now, solidarity is something that has existed in different forms throughout history. We are all familiar with the idea of the members of a guild providing mutual assistance to one another. So you have a close group that will promise mutual assistance and mutual benefit to one another. Insurance, as we know it today, on the other hand, is something that was born in the Renaissance, that was born with the increase of scientific knowledge about the probability of a number of events in the course of human life. You would have people like Edmund Halley that would be among the first to try to organize data in order to provide the insurance industry with a measurement of the risk, with a measurement of our exposure to those unfortunate events. And when those instruments make it possible to measure life expectancy according to a certain number of variable factors, when it is possible to measure the likeliness that people will need medical care, and when you can find financial capacity to provide the warranty that between the time of the payment of a premium that is correlated to the risk according to the measurements and the time the event might or might not happen, well, then you have the basic ingredients of what we can call modern insurance. And that means that in our societies nowadays, we have two different kinds of solidarity. We have one solidarity that is generally organized by governments in the developed world, in which you have a compulsory or universal social protection that is granted through the social security schemes. The social security schemes will not pay much attention to the measurement of risk. We will consider that all people are eligible to a certain standard of health care without regard to their health condition at the time they become adults, they join the workforce, and they are entitled to certain rights within the framework of social security. Since we do not measure the risks, it is clear that our social protection systems will also organize a transfer from the haves to the have-nots, from people who probably might have a better health status to other people who probably might have a worse off health status. On the other hand, when we are dealing with pure insurance techniques, the insurer will always insist on being able to know as much as possible about the risk that he's willing to take in order to define the premium that will be needed to match the profile of the person who is joining insurance. The more so since both in life insurance and in healthcare insurance, as we know it in Belgium and in most other Western countries, the terms and the conditions, the rate that is defined by the insurance company will be set at the moment the customer joins the group of policyholders. There will be no review of the premium rate with regard to any new factors that may appear later on in the health status of that person. We therefore have two poles, one pole of pure solidarity, if I may say so, that provides a number of people with a subsidy coming from the group, and on the other hand, we have, I would say, a lesser worthy form of solidarity that is organized by insurance companies, by which every policyholder will pay a premium that reflects the degree of risk in order to have a match between the price he's paying and the probability that this person may be entitled to future benefits. Between the two, we also have a number of collective insurances. And when you have a group of people, for instance, the personnel of an important corporation, then you know that there will be people who have a better health status and people who have a worse health status. And therefore, when you are dealing with such a community, there is no need to look at every individual risk. And what you will encounter is that insurance companies will practice an experience rating on the community that is being insured without trying to get at the individual insurance of the individual person. Now, when you're talking about very small groups, like a firm of lawyers, where they have only 6 partners and they're taking out group insurance for only 6 people, they would still like to know what the health status of those 6 people would be. But when you're dealing with a company with 60, 600 or 6,000 employees, there is no need to access the individual information. Now, when an insurance company needs to access the individual information about the individual, the insurance companies will apply a number of processes that will be correlated to the importance of the insurance that's being underwritten. So the insurance companies will pay regard to the age of the policyholder, to the sum that is to be insured, and the more the sums involved, the risks involved get important, the more the insurance company will try to get detailed medical knowledge about the health status of the applicants for the insurance. In most cases, through a medical questionnaire that will ask a number of questions that enable the insurance company to have an idea of the current health status of the person who applies for insurance, and in a number of cases also medical examinations. Now, this matter in Belgium has been regulated by a legislation of 1992 that defines in what way the insurance companies can use medical information in the underwriting process. The basic idea in insurance is that when an insurance company underwrites a risk, the insurance company has to assess that risk, and the basic idea is that the information should be symmetrical, which means that the knowledge should be at the same level on the side of the policyholder and on the side of the insurance company. If one of the parties were to have a better knowledge than the other party, there would be, at least in insurance theory, a possibility for some people who know more than the other party is entitled to know, to take advantage of the fact that they know that the probability of having a different life expectancy or a different health expectancy may be used against the community of the other policyholders. Now that was the issue that was at stake in principle, but in 1992 there was also a strong voice in order that insurance should not become an obstacle to the development of genetical knowledge, should not become an obstacle to the freedom of people to have testings for other purposes than insurance. And the legislation which we know from 1992 sets two principles. One principle regards Article 5 of that legislation. Article 5 is about the duty to inform, and the principle that is laid out in Belgian law and in most other European insurance law is that the policyholder has to provide the insurance company with all information that should be considered relevant for the purpose of the insurance being considered. And in 1992, the Belgian legislator decided that genetic information, whatever may be meant by genetic data, should not be communicated. In other terms, genetic information can be kept secret, does not have to be provided in the course of the underwriting process for any kind of insurance. And in another article, that's Article 95, that is an article that deals with the medical tests that an insurance company can require, it is also foreseen that the medical examinations about which this article is written should not include predictive genetic techniques. It's only medical examinations regarding the current health information, the current health status of the person applying for insurance. Now there has been some commotion about the fact that under Belgian law, one party therefore could keep some information regarding the quality of the risk secret for the other party. There was an issue about the cross-border application. What if you have different legal standards in Europe? Now, we are now 18, 19 years after the legislation of 1992 coming into force, and we have not seen any consequences of that legislation on Belgian insurance. We have not witnessed any evidence that would have made clear that there is a large number of people who are abusing the system, who are taking advantage of the fact that they may have knowledge that they can use against the community of policyholders. And I guess, therefore, the choice that has been made in 1992 has proven to be a choice dictated by common sense and by the pragmatic sense for which the Belgian legislator has been known throughout the years. But I would like to make one important proviso, which is the fact that if it were to appear that some people take advantage of the fact that they have more information than the insurance company, and that this is to the disadvantage of the insurance operation or of the community of policyholders, then probably we would have to follow the example that has been set by a number of other European countries, where the state has set a limit in order to grant access to essential insurance products, especially those insurance products that are connected with the need for every household to be able to get a mortgage loan in order to be able to buy a house or an apartment up to a certain value. And if this insurance is to be taken out for other purposes than those purposes that are recognized of general interest, then the insurance companies would be allowed to ask whether the applicant for the insurance policy has more detailed genetic information, and if it were to talk about higher amounts, to ask for medical tests including that genetic information. So this is the state of play we have today. We have no evidence of any abuse or of any imbalance of the insurance market being brought about by the development of genetic knowledge as it is developed today and as we know it today. I thank you for your attention.